All right, CNT120. We are now looking at our port numbers. We just got done with IP version 6. So we're now going to look at our TCP port numbers at our transport layer. Now, we're just going to do this on the Windows side. If we did it on Linux, it would literally be just a redundant look, which we could do. But we're just going to do it on Windows. We can do it on Windows. We could do it on Linux if we needed to. So I'm going to minimize our VM here. And on our Windows side, I'm going to open the Wireshark that's here. I'm going to double click on that guy. Let that load. And again, I will be looking for my Ethernet 3. So down here at the bottom, we'll be looking for Ethernet 3. That's the one that's connected and functioning. We will launch that. We're then going to open a web page we have not been to today. If I've been to a web page already, some of that information is cached. It's saved in like temporary memory on your computer. So we want to make sure we're going to a web page we have not visited on this machine today. So it purposely will go out and query a DNS server for its address. So I'm going to launch this, then I'll open my browser over here. I'll open up a new tab and I will search for that website. So we go back here to Wireshark. There's my Ethernet 3. I'm going to double click on that, or after I highlight it, I can click the little shark fin. So I will do that. I will get it recording. I will go to my browser. In this new tab here, I will go to www.formula1.com and open that website. Yay. Again, you could do hack or any place you have not been to yet today. I'm going to minimize my browser. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to stop my capture. Now we have already captured like 15,000 packets. So we want to just see the DNS traffic. So up here in the top bar, we're going to type in DNS. We're going to hit enter. And it's only going to show us the DNS traffic that this machine has done, which there's been a bunch. What I'm going to do is try to find the DNS that I did. So I'm going to look over here and I'm going to try to look for the Formula1.com to show up over here. So I'm going to scroll down through and here's some ESPN. There's some ESPN. These were stuff that's kind of running in the background on web pages coming through. And again, I'm going to kind of keep going. There's Wired. Here's Formula 1. Yeah, here's the standard query. This is the quad, or excuse me, the IP version 4 query. And if I keep going, I will probably see the quad A down here eventually for Formula 1. But I don't need to. That's fine. We'll just stick with that query up there. That's good enough. Hopefully you will find what you had searched for. The other way we can do is we can start looking at the source IP 10107, which most likely, if I take a look, is my IP. Yep, 10107. There's my IP. So that's the other way we can start searching for. Now that I've highlighted the DNS query, what you'll see over here on the left is arrows indicating this is the response. This right here is the response to that. So I queried for Formula1.com, and then here's the response coming back. Now, what I'm going to have you do is follow that stream. So I'm going to right click on top of this guy, and I'm going to follow this UDP stream. And what that's going to do, I'm just going to say close on this. I don't need to do anything special in this. It's just going to show me the query and the response that I did. And here's the query and here's the response. It looks like it even did a second query in there because there might have been something that had failed. So here's the query and then here's the response. What we want to look at in here, let's look at these header fields. We'll look at the DNS and UDP header fields, if you will. So let's look at the query. I'm going to highlight the query. That's the question. Down here, we have the Ethernet header, my MAC address going to the gateway and eventually the DNS server, my IP going to the DNS server IP. And then here in the UDP header, the source port, this is coming from my browser, 61658. That's one of those high dynamic port numbers. So that's coming from my browser, that tab of my browser to be specific. And it's going to port 53. That's DNS. That's the port number. That's the port number for DNS service that would be running on a server. So coming from my machine to the server is like, hey, DNS service, can you help me? And down here, if I open the query, and I actually open the query, the question, it's like, hey, does anybody know the address for www.formula1.com? That's what we're seeing. Well, let's now look at the reply coming back. I don't know if I have you. Here's the query. But let's look at the reply coming back, just because we're curious. So I'm going to highlight the reply, the query reply. And now we'll see the source is coming from the DNS server back to my machine. That's the destination. The source is 53, the DNS service running on the server, coming back to my browser, that tab of my browser, if you will. And it said, hey, this was your query. And hopefully down here under the answers is like, hey, here's the answer you're looking for. Here's the addresses, IP version 4 addresses of web servers that will respond to, can I have the website Formula1.com. There's multiple. When you encounter large sites like an ESPN or Major League Baseball or NFL or whatever, Major League Soccer, they'll have multiple servers that respond to requests. So it's not uncommon to see multiple addresses here, especially on the big sites. So there is my DNS service. There is my port numbers that is running at my layer 4, identifying these services. Again, my browser DNS service running on the server there. So those are the port numbers we were looking for. Now, for this one, we're going to do this in an interesting way. We're going to save just these packets right here and submit just these packets to D2L. So to do that, I'm going to export the specified packet. So up here, I'll go File, Export Specified Packets, and we're just going to leave this as displayed. That only gives us those 3. Okay, I don't need all 500 of them or 10,000 of them or whatever. We just need those. I'm going to point to, so let's go to the Documents folder here, and I'm going to go to my Brown folder, my Chap3Lab. Okay, that way I know how to find this, and I'll give it a name of something like DNS port capture. Okay, so we'll say DNS port capture. And we are going to leave this file extension alone, the .pcapng. That way this can be opened with Wireshark. And I will do a save. And if I go to my Windows folder here, I should see that port capture show up, and it shows a little Wireshark icon. So this would be able to be opened in Wireshark. So as I grade your lab, I'll download this file, open it up, and see, yep, you did capture the DNS packets, so you were able to look at the port numbers there. So there is my port numbers, and actually using Wireshark to capture them, look at them, and then save them. Okay, so there is our layer 4.